Hello, hello, everybody. Bree Sedano here, coming to you live. For those of you who are brand new, please say hello so that way I can say hi to you. I know that you're here. Anybody who watches all the time, please say hello so that way I also know that you're here. Today, what we are going to be working on is around sloppy manifestations. And I love this topic so much. It's I'm a curious person. Let me just open up with that. I'm a super curious person. So when I work with clients and I can see what's going on in their mind and what's going on in their emotional state and then what they're creating in their money, sloppy manifestations are just like the juiciest part um, for me to do my work and like I don't know, just really help somebody. But it's such a cool thing to talk about. So today we're going to get into a couple of things that will cause sloppy manifestations. I see some of you here. So while you're hopping on, just say hello so that way I know that you're here. I appreciate all of the comments. And then as we get into this, if you take a lot of value from this conversation, please feel free to share my work. Feel free to send it to a friend. Feel free to tag a friend. If you're in my Facebook group, please feel free to invite friends to my Facebook group. We have free content all the time and it's all super juicy. Heather, hello. All right, so let's get into sloppy manifestation. Oh, Lois, hello. All right, so the first thing I want you to understand is that we are manifesting, like we're creating our life, we're creating our existence at all times, whether or not you're doing it on purpose or whether or not you're doing it unintentionally. Like you are creating your existence whether or not you're doing it on purpose, right? Give me a heart or a like if you're with me, if that makes perfect sense to you. And we see that when you look at somebody's life and you're like, wow, you make some interesting choices there. You know, let's just talk about somebody who's just got a shit show of an existence for a second. No judgment, just this is an imaginary person. And you like look and you're like, oh, took a lot of actions there to get here, huh? Were they saying to themselves, I would like all a series of bad things. I would like my life to run like a series of unfortunate events. Of course not. Nobody wants things that they don't like, but it doesn't mean that we're not creating them. So, interesting thing is that I don't know, probably like 20 years ago now, the book, what is it? The Secret came out and started to bring law of attraction and the idea that you could on purpose manifest your life, like create your life the way that you want it to like the mainstream, right? And over the years, we like, right? Like give me, like, I see that there's a handful of you live. Give me a yes if you read The Secret or if you know what I'm talking about. And that book was like the initial book around law of attraction, manifestation, really bringing that to the mainstream, like I just said. And what that does is it tells you the power of positive thinking. It tells you how to direct your thoughts. It tells you, like how to be grateful for things, how to make space for things. And that's real cool. That's, yeah, look at, okay, you guys are with me. You're my people. And so when we start manifesting on purpose, sometimes we get a thing that I like to call just a sloppy manifestation. And listen, I'm gonna talk, and I'm probably gonna call you out because everybody ever has had like a weird dissonant, sloppy manifestation. So there's no judgment. There's nothing right or wrong about it. It's just a thing that you're creating, and you get to do it again, and you get to do it again, and you get to do it again. You're going to be creating all day, every day. So don't get, you know, there's nothing wrong with you. All right. I don't want you to end up feeling like anything's wrong or you're doing anything wrong. You're doing it great. You're doing perfect. But anyways, sloppy manifestations. So sloppy manifestations are things that, all right, so there's like a few different flavors of them. So sometimes we will have like the cognitively dissonant manifestation. So let's just say you decide that you're going to go on a vacation, you're going to go real bad, and you decide that like come hell or high water, you're going on this trip. Great. All right. And then maybe you borrow the money or you go with somebody you don't want to go to like force it to happen to make it happen. And then you're on the trip and you're like so either stressed out or annoyed or not enjoying the company or whatever else. So you're doing the exact thing that you wanted to do and yet it feels bad. So that's like a dissonant type situation. It's like, here I am this beautiful place, doing this thing I wanted to do, and I'm still not happy, right? Let me know if you've ever had a dissonant, right? Sloppy manifestation where you got the thing that you wanted, but it felt not the way that you wanted it to feel, right? Just let me know. Just let me know in the comments. Just right, like yes, that's happened to me. All right, so that's one way we can get a sloppy manifestation. Sometimes we can have a sloppy manifestation that is really the result of some internal conflict. So it's like, I want the thing, but I don't want the thing. A lot of times with money, we will see that as like, honestly, a lot of times we'll be manifesting bills or expenses or challenges or broken things in our house that like get in the way of something that we feel a little conflicted about, right? I just recently was talking to a client in Cash Confident. We were in a monthly money mentorship meeting. Mentally money mentorship meeting. That's a mouthful of words. Um, and she was manifesting plumbing issues, and she was manifesting vet bills and just other expenses. And I was like, well, what's the money supposed to go for? She's like, it's supposed to go for a vacation that I'm a little stressed out about. And I'm like, well, why are you stressed? She's like, I'm stressed. It's a long drive. I have to take my dogs. I love my family, but they stress me out a little bit. I'm going to see my friends. My friends never come see me. The trip feels like a lot of work because all my meals, all my desserts, all my minutes are planned for. So I don't really get time to myself or to explore. It just like I get home and it's like a lot. Like I feel exhausted. All right. So look at when you really look at, so she had so much internal conflict about that vacation that the universe gave her a freaking perfect excuse not to go, right? She could have called the whole thing off, right? Because she had plumbing issues. Like she had to spend it, and that was the truth. She had to spend a substantial amount of money, right? So let me know if you've ever had some internal conflict, right? You could just so that way I know. Maybe just write like yes, conflict. So that way I know that you're with me. So if that's ever happened, right? Like another story about internal conflict is a dear friend of mine. This is not a client, this is a friend of mine who I love, was complaining to me one day about she just had to rake her leaves and didn't want to rake her leaves. And her neighbor hit her wall with a truck, and that took up the whole day. And so she got what she wanted. It was just she wasn't intentionally manifesting she wasn't intentionally manifesting, a broken wall, but she was not wanting to do the leaves. And that gave her a perfect reason to not do the leaves. And so listen, I want you to understand that our conscious mind and our subconscious mind are two different things, but they both have manifestation powers. And all right, your conscious mind, the part of your brain that like thinks, the part of your brain that can go into the future, the part of your brain that can go into the past, the part of your brain that can read a spreadsheet, the part of your brain that if you are doing manifestation exercises is going to do the affirmations, is going to do the visualizations. That conscious part of your brain has creative power, right? Like it can drive some motivation. You can use some willpower to get some things done. Right? Your subconscious brain is in charge of your body. It's in charge of keeping you alive. It's in charge of your fight or flight responses. It's in charge of your physical body movements. It is in charge of your emotions. It houses your memories, your hopes and fears. It houses the vast majority of your belief systems. And since it's got your body, when we're creating, when we're like being vibrational beings, our thoughts they manifest. They're like a signal to the universe, like boop boop boop, right? The intention, the vibe that our body is in. That's the that's the really big thing. So it's like the intention is paints the picture, it puts the outline. The the subconscious really fills the rest of that in. So when we're in a lot of state of internal conflict, and when I'm talking about internal conflict, I'm saying that our conscious mind wants one thing, but our subconscious mind is either maybe not fully on board, maybe afraid, maybe doesn't want it at all. This is some of the places where we get some sloppy manifestations. I'm going to give you another story just to like ground this, bring it down to earth. I feel like when we talk about energetic principles, a lot of times people can like get it, but they don't really understand. So I'm going to just tell you a quick story. So I have a client who was having the problem, the sloppy manifestation she's coming to see me with, it was like, I get so stressed about having to do taxes. I haven't done my taxes in a couple of years. And I was like, all right. I mean, that's a big deal. She's very successful. She owns a business. Like, we are playing with fire here, right? And it's not that she doesn't want to do her taxes. It's not that she's not smart enough to do her taxes. It's not that she can't make the time or effort to do her taxes. It's not that she can't pay the accountant or the bookkeeper to help her with the taxes. Right? She's got everything she needs, but literally the work that she has to do sends her into like a physical panic attack, like actual panic attack. And I don't know if any of you have ever had a panic attack, but it is no joke. Like, it is an emotional response that is terrifying, right? You feel like you're going to die. So we get into this, and she's telling me the things she wants, and she was like, and I want to have a house, and I was like, all right. And the thing is she's got a business, so she's got to get those taxes done to be able to qualify for a mortgage. She will have 0% chance of qualifying for a mortgage if her taxes aren't done. It's not even an option, not even on the table, right? So we start with that, and we do what I call a deepest fear inventory, and that's an activity that I teach inside of the Cash Confident community. We go over all the time, but we start to pull up all of her deepest fears. And so her deepest fears to me indicate that she does not actually want to buy a house. She doesn't want a house in the city that she's living in. She actually likes she's got a rent. She's actually likes her rent. The prices of property in her area have skyrocketed since COVID, so she couldn't buy anywhere near as much of a house, and she wants to move out of her community like within the next few years. So I was like, so it actually sounds to me like you don't actually want to buy a house right now or where you are. All right. That's that internal conflict. So the conscious mind is like, I want to feel like a grown up, and feeling like a grown up means buying a house. Give me a heart or like if you're tracking, if you're picking up what I'm putting down, if you're with me, give me a heart or like, right? And then the conflict is that like, all right, well, you want to buy a house, but like, I don't want a house here. I don't want a house now. I don't want to pay these kinds of prices for houses. I don't want to have to sell this house. I don't want to have to move and then move again in a couple of years. Super valid, right? Super valid, not wanting it. So part of her wants it. Her conscious mind wants the house to feel like a grown up. Her subconscious mind is like, hard no, definitely don't want it. No, thank you. Absolutely not. So the subconscious is in charge of the body. So it's like, all right, well, how are we going to not get this house that we don't want? Well, if we don't get the taxes done, that's a nice, easy way to get if we don't get the taxes done, that's a nice, easy way, right? All right. So what gets in the way of doing the taxes? Crippling anxiety and panic attacks. Done. All right. And listen, this lady loves herself. She's amazing. She's smart. There's nothing wrong with her. This is but this is the juicy, juicy stuff that when you're having issues creating the thing that you want, when you're finding obstacles, these are the places that you want to look, right? Right. Let me know in the comments if I mean, you guys are all saying yes, you're with me. So I appreciate that. But let me know, like, do you want to be better at manifesting? Right? Look at Heather says, I bought a house because my accountant told me to, and I had to buy property or have kids. I was in my 20s and I didn't know any better. Oh my goodness. um, yeah. So some of the places that we kind of create these, this life, that internal conflict can get in the way. Sometimes it will be judgments. Sometimes we'll have judgments that are in the way. And sometimes we just get something that our mind thinks we want, but then our body actually feels bad. So some of the work that I do inside of the Cash Confident community is working with clients to really start to detangle um, these inner workings, starting to get to know the subconscious a little bit better, because Carl Jung, who's one of the greatest like psychologists of all time, says that like until you make the unconscious conscious, so until you make these subconscious fears or subconscious desires or subconscious not desires, until you understand those, you're what is the phrase? You're until you make the conscious or the subconscious conscious, it will rule your life and you will call it fate, right? Because it's what we don't see in our subconscious is like it's invisible. It's invisible to the conscious mind. And so a lot of times, but the sloppy manifestations are the place where you can look and go back and figure yourself out, and then essentially be able to like create something cleaner for next time. All right. Give me a heart if or a like or a comment if that's like a skill that you would want to learn. Is that something that you think would be valuable to you? Is that something that you think like your life would be better if you know how to do? Um, so anyways, when I'm working with clients, I like, yes, Lois says yes. I like to get to know what's going on in the subconscious. So I like to do an activity. I'll teach you this activity, and then we'll start to wrap up. I like to do what's called the deepest fear inventory. So you take your goal and you could be like, I don't know, dear universe, I would really, really hate and resent to have my goal because my deepest fear is. And you list out 10 or 15 things, and that's going to bring to the surface some of those subconscious fears, subconscious beliefs, subconscious worries. And once you can see them, there are some that you can, some will dissolve when you see them, right? I'll tell you one of mine. There was a point in time where I was feeling very plateaued in my business, financially and just growth wise. And I realized, so I did this activity and I found that I had a very deep fear that if I made more money, somebody was going to kidnap my kids. Interesting. So when I said that fear out loud, it just kind of dissolved. It just kind of went away, right? Because it was like a fear that was deep in my subconscious, but when I took it up to the surface, just kind of turned to dust. So sometimes that's what happens. Sometimes we'll find a fear that we have to mitigate, that we have to address. Right? I'll tell you another story about myself. At a different point, I'd hired some coaches to do some work with me, and actually I just started with one coach, and she had a fair amount of clients, and I was like, holy crap, man! If I grow anymore, and this woman quits her job, gets sick, gets hit by a bus, I'm gonna have all these clients back on my calendar, and that will be overwhelming. And I'm not even sure that if we get a few more clients, I'm not even sure I could really realistically handle it and do a good job. So that fear was legit and it needed to be addressed, right? And so at that point in time, I went and I hired an additional person, and then that fear was mitigated, it was addressed. And then there's some fear that we're going to walk with, right? Like the fear of being judged, right? Like the fear of rejection. Like there's some things in life that you're just going to have to take that fear with you, right? Like if you, oh, I mean, you're going to be judged. If you do, if you don't, if you're here, if you're there, if you're not, if you are, it doesn't matter. So if that's the thing that freaks you out, um, a lot of times you'll just have to learn to walk with that. So, anyways, I like that activity. And inside of the Cash Confident community, that's some of the work that we do to make the subconscious conscious. Because when we understand the truth, we can be more in alignment, we can be more clean. And what ends up happening is when your mind and your emotions are on the same page, when you're like thinking a thought that would feel good mentally and your body feels good, you will find that that's the place where the unfolding happens very, very quickly. Like this is the way to get faster, creations, faster manifestations, and cleaner. But it does take a little bit of inner work because it's those internal conflicts, that internal dissonance when we take the actions that it shows up in our external world. So like um what's it, so above so below, right? Or so below within, so within so without, so above so below. Like it's like what we have in here in our mind and heart and body, we create in the external world. So if you have a lot of dissonance, right? If you have a lot of this seems like a good idea but feels super bad, or the other way around, this feels super good but I don't like the idea, right? Like sometimes that's a thing too. Sometimes our body's like, I want to rest, and your mind is beating you up the whole time. Does that happen to anybody? Where your body's like, I could really go for laying on the grass in the sunshine today, and your mind is like, excuse me, you have 64 things to do today, none of which are laying in the grass. This is not being productive. This is not good enough. You are an absolute piece of shit. You should be doing other things. Does that happen to anybody else? Does anybody else's mind torture them while their body's like happy to relax? And then they kind of ruin it for themselves. They got some dissonance, right? So, anyways, yes, Lois is with me. All right, so I hope you're taking something good from the talk. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about my Cash Confident community. It is open for enrollment right now. The enrollment period will close April 9th. So you do have a little bit of time to make your decision, but we do have some bonuses that that we're putting on that, like that expire. Anyways, so the Cash Confident community is the community that people come in when they are looking to increase their level of financial freedom. So most of the time when people come see me, they're going to work with me on they're feeling maybe busy, broken, exhausted, or they're struggling with their budget, or they have some credit card debt, or they're not making enough money in their work, and they actually want a life of financial freedom. They actually want to be able to travel. They want to be able to upgrade their houses. They want to be able to wear the clothes that they like and eat the kinds of foods that they want, and just really have a life that they picked on purpose, right? Would you guys like that? Would you like some more financial freedom? Let me know. Let me know if you would like some more financial freedom. And so the Cash Confident community I designed to help people kind of go through that journey. So what we do inside of the community is we go through, and my method on teaching people more financial freedom and teaching people in better money management is really like I have like a five pillared approach, and everything that I do brings in these elements. And honestly, the five elements is the magic sauce. So it's putting together like your financial plan, your strategy, what money needs to go where and why, putting together your actions and your habits that need to support that, your mindset, like your mental, your, uncovering any mental barriers, any mental obstacles. So that way you can keep those actions that make the plan go, right? Then we have like that emotional component, really feeling into that dissonance that we were talking about when your brain is like, yes, but your body's like, no, or your brain is like, no, but your body's like, yes, I'm so tired. Let me have a rest. And then having that community piece. Yes, Heather just joined. And so, somebody says it's an amazing Facebook group, but I'm on StreamYard, so I can't see everybody's name. So I appreciate that. So, anyways, when you join inside of the community, I want you to know there are a few layers of support that you get to basically go from, you can come in stressed about money, come in busy, broken, exhausted, and then we kind of take you on this journey where my goal is that within a year you could be accumulating money to be building wealth. So where we start is I run courses live, and they just kind of cycle through. So we go through live where you get to ask me questions, you get my eyes and ears. I teach the content live. We go through Find or Bleed, the Invisible System, Drop the Debt, Plenty, Money Mindset Boot Camp, 30 Days to Get a Raise, Life of Abundance. There may be one more, we just cycle through. So I teach that content live, so you'll get access to live content. We are live pretty much every Tuesday. Then we do 6 additional calls per month. We do 2 on money mentorship, and this is where you bring me your money tangles. This is where you bring me your frustrations, your challenges, and we work through them together. These calls are so good. It's like high-end coaching. We just get into it. The group is so supportive. Everybody loves on each other, and the level of transformation that we're making in these calls is wild. So you have 2 chances every month to come. I mean, you can come once or twice or whenever is convenient for you. Then we do 2 calls on spending audits / transaction reviews. I refer to them as both. This is where you bring your transactions, and I help you by looking through them with you to give you customized suggestions. I'll ask you some questions to come up with like customized solutions to change habits, right? So I don't say things to you like, well, Heather, stop spending so much money getting your nails done. Implied, dum-dum. I'm like, oh, all right, here's this. Where could we do this? Is this a non-negotiable? We can really work it out to give you something that really, really fits your lifestyle. So that way you could free up your cash flow in a way that's sustainable and feels good and is not going to feel like a sacrifice necessarily. All right. Then we do 2 calls a month that are just accountability calls where we hold space. So that way you can put the time in your calendar. You can come and get something done. You can ask questions if you need to. So we do that. So you'll get all of the live courses. We run through those one at a time. We just keep cycling them through. So that way you get that live experience. You get to ask the questions. You have access to all of my recorded content. So you could pick and choose if there's something that you wanted to do. You get the money mentorship support. You get the group support. You get the love and accountability. You get the spending audits to help keep you accountable, help keep you on track. And I will tell you, clients are crushing. 30 days to get a raise, the content that we're doing in there. Last year, we had clients getting $10,000 raises, $20,000 raises, $12,000 raises. One client got a 55% raise. One client raised her prices in her business. Like, And it's all around like really feeling into that sense of worthiness, doing that kind of work. We're having clients pay off debt. We're having clients save money for the first time ever, clients shaving years off of their retirement ages. And the way that it works and why it works so fast and why it probably sounds too good to be true, to be honest, is because we're not just working with a financial plan, because that is highly ineffective. It's not because it's ineffective, it's because it's incomplete. And so when you bring those 5 pillars into something, you will find that when you get your plan on board with your desires and you have the habits and actions in place to support the plan and the mental faculties to support the habits and actions and the emotional capacity to keep your mind on, to keep your mind focused, to keep your habits and your actions in place, to be working towards your plan, and you have the support for the days that it's hard, and you have the encouragement, and you have somebody celebrating you and clapping for you, you stay on track and you get things done super, super fast. And that's why we're seeing clients go from like busy, broken, exhausted to accumulating money and building wealth within 12 months. It is wild. The speed at which things happen when you get your entire self on board is crazy. So anyways, I would love to invite you to the community. It is $897 if you want to pay for it for an entire year. You get a discount. If you prefer, you can pay for it monthly. It's $99 a month. One of the questions I get a lot about it is how long should I plan to spend in there? Like, I don't have a ton of time. An hour a week is more than enough. If you can dedicate an hour a week to either coming to a call, going through the coursework, doing your actual work, reading the post, responding, doing like some introspection, some journaling, or whatever needs to be done. If you can spend an hour a week, you will see massive, massive results. Could you do it with less? Yeah, you could. One of the other questions I get is people ask, can they cancel? Yes, you can cancel. If you can cancel when you feel complete. I don't know. Does anybody else have any other questions? People will ask what courses are included, and I will do my best to run them off for you right now. If you were to buy all these courses, it's more than, I think, $1,300 worth of courses that you'll just have access to the whole time that you're in there. So you'll get plenty, Find Your Bleed, the Invisible System to Stop Bleeding Money and Start Stacking Cash, Drop the Debt Once and for All, Money Mindset Bootcamp, Life of Abundance, 30 Days to Get a Raise. Those are the same 7 I said before, so I think that's right. I deliver extra stuff. You get an entire strategy library, things on like credit basics. And then also Lois is saying that it's not a Facebook group. It's in Mighty Networks, but there's like a community. It feels like social media, but it's not. It's a private community. I pay for it, so that way, like, any of your comments, any of your stuff's just not like out in the wide open interwebs. So we deliver content. You get the strategy library that teaches very practical skills, things like how to boost your credit, how to pick out a financial advisor, stock market basics, the difference between like 401ks and IRAs and all that like kind of financial literacy stuff. But the other things I was talking about in the 5, that's generally where the magic is. So if you look in the description, you will see that you can come. Like, there's the registration page, cashconfident.com/membership. So I would love for you to come to the community, give it a try, see how, honestly, like, don't give it a try. Come, decide that you're going to do it and that your life's going to be way better in a year. Like, that's what I actually want. All right. So if you have any questions for me, feel free to ask. I love you. I appreciate you. And we'll talk to you later. Bye.